Hello world, my name is Tara Tylicki, and we're going to go all around the world right here from the backyard. It's the last time we were in Africa and we talked about anxiety and how to clear it. And I mentioned at the end of the video that I was going to tell something that might surprise you. So, any guesses what that is? I've lost about 140 pounds naturally. And so I tend to not mention that to people unless I'm in session and I'm ready to kind of help support them. They reveal something to me they feel like they can't accomplish, and I mention that and they're like, what, you? Oh my gosh. So I'll put a link to a photo so you can see, though that process started for me when I went to Asia, and it really came to center around the self-love. And so it's so important to love yourself and hug yourself, and to even know that the zipper is here because we're supposed to open it up to the world and to yourself, and to make sure that you support yourself with all those wonderful thoughts. You can even start by just winking at yourself in the mirror and just acknowledging those little pieces to yourself about when you are doing something that feels like that self-love now. And so that is definitely a key piece. Though as we go to Asia, and I went on my first trip, I turned 21 in Tibet actually, which was amazing. I'm going to tell you about my birthday trip in just a little bit. Though I traveled 36 hours to get there on a plane, or many planes. And we went to Nepal, and when we landed there were monkeys everywhere, and it was such an amazing experience. And so I loved that, and we learned from the monks and the nuns there. And it was very different because when we went to Tibet, China had taken over Tibet or Lhasa about 13 years before. So the feeling of the monks and nuns in Nepal had a lot more like joy to it, a lot more energy. So it was a really amazing experience to learn from them. We even did like a sand painting with them, but ours looks like it looked like a child's drawing compared to them doing those big mandalas with the sand that they created. And we did that for our amazing trip to Tibet. So we went to Tibet. On the day of my birthday, we had traveled about 12 or 13 hours to this place, and we went on a car to a boat. We crossed some kind of water area there. We went on, then we went to a Jeep. And the day of my birthday, when I woke up, because I barely slept that night, and it was really amazing though to see the night sky, layers of stars upon stars. Like I felt like I could just peer out into the galaxy to the end of the, end of the universe maybe. I don't know. It was something that just felt like an amazing experience that really connected me in a cosmic way, I guess. And so on my birthday though, we went on a bus and we almost died. So we went on this bus to head to this place that we're gonna hike 1,000 feet in elevation. And the bus ended up pitching over one of these curves. It was just crazy curves to head up this mountain. And when that happened, I could be dramatizing it maybe a little, but I don't think so, because when that happened, everybody got out of the bus and was like, that's it, we're not going, no, we're walking. And it was a very scary experience. And when we did start walking, we headed all the way up 1,000 feet, and along the way we went to where the Tibetan nuns were. And I remember along the journey hearing the Tibetan horns, which was a phenomenal experience. And we were heading up to this like temple or monastery. And so I had my backpack, and the backpack that I had with me had so much weight to it. It was so heavy. I had enough stuff to survive for like a week. I had never traveled before, and this was gonna make it or break it, I knew, my experience. So it was so heavy. And you can imagine me like, about 140 pounds heavier, and I've got this backpack on, and I'm heading up there, and I was somewhere in the middle of the group. I don't really know where. I lost track of everybody else because I was just on my journey, just making my steps all the way up. And at one point, the Tibetan guide was jogging by and like turned around backwards and was jogging in place along me and asking if he could take the weight for me. And at that time I was saying, no, I didn't ask for help very much. I'm like, I brought this weight, no, I need to carry this weight. And so he's like, okay, so he just continues forward. They were really wonderful there. And I continue to walk, and I keep heading up and heading up and heading up. And finally when I got to the top, this took a long time, when I got to the top, I about fell down to the ground. And I literally dropped to the ground and put the bag down and slammed to the ground. Because there was another, 100 stairs to go up. I didn't realize that we were gonna have to go up all these stairs as we arrived to the top. And I really didn't think I could do it. I was like so defeated and deflated, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And as I sat there, all of a sudden, slowly but surely, this energy started to show up, and I just felt filled with energy. And I grabbed the backpack and I got up and I went up those steps. And as I got to the top, the Tibetan monks put these scarves around me and everybody started celebrating. I didn't know, they surprised me. They brought all of these candy bars to have to celebrate my 21st birthday when I was there. I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. It was so amazing. Such an amazing experience, and they were all celebrating. I was like, I have to sit down now. And I sat down, I looked over the beautiful mountains, and I couldn't believe I had accomplished this. And it'd be wonderful for you to think back in your life too, when you went through something that you didn't think you could, if that's right for you to think about, and that you did do it. It was a positive experience for you. So that was that start of that weight loss journey, even though it was on a greater journey. And I didn't lose it all at once. There were different things, inner work, that I went through. I'd love to share that in a course one day. Contact me if that interests you. Otherwise, I'm so grateful for us to go to our last video now in this series. We're going to go to our last continent to visit, which is Australia. And in Australia, I got to see the Dalai Lama in Sydney. This was a different trip. And this is my latest, that was my last international trip. And I got to go behind his seat and put a cloth down, like a sacred cloth. And I'll tell you next time what was put on that cloth behind the Dalai Lama before he came out. So it was pretty phenomenal. So thank you so much. Remember to love yourself and stay inspired.